Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another session on logic development. Rather, this is probably the last session that we're going to have on the logic development, or the last topic that we're discussing. Even before we start with today's session, I appreciate many of you stayed back quite late yesterday to solve the problem. And I see Kaustubh and only Kaustubh. Okay, Kaustubh sharing, Kaustubh and Ashish sharing the solution. So first, we'll look into the solution that you have submitted, and then I'll explain you the significance of today's topic. So let's begin with the discussion. If anybody else also has a solution, please share the solution and turn on your cameras before we proceed. So we have one submitted by Ashish, other by Kaustubh, and third by Prithviraj. I hope these are different or the same.
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 सर
हाँ, बोलिए।
एक्चुअली सर कल रात को है ना मैं डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया था।
हाँ।
फिर मैंने बाद में सॉल्व किया। बाकी
Okay.
का नहीं मालूम क्योंकि सर ये लाइट गई थी इसलिए डिस्कनेक्ट।
Okay, so probably others have the same one. Let's see if they have done something different. So the question was something like this. So those who are not there for the discussion, have a look at the question. It says Mr. Joshi always gives true-false test to his class. His test always has 20 questions. Maximum size of the class is 35. Needs a program that will calculate the student grades based on the best score. Score कैसा है? Grade क्या है? Grade A. If your marks are 2 less than the high scorer. B, if your marks are 3, best score -3 to best score -4. Okay, 3, 4 marks less than the best score. 5, 6 is grade C, 7, 8 is grade D, and 8 marks below the best score, you are failed. So each student's ID test answer will be entered. Output for each student's ID number क्या क्या एक्सेप्ट करने के लिए कहा गया है. So Ashish, your solution is same as Prithviraj's solution, or Prithviraj's your solution is different?
Same.
No, they are same.
Same. So it is same. So let's see whether we have done the right thing or not. No, I'm not really concerned whether it is right or not. What is more important is you made an attempt to solve it and you did not give up till very end. That is something which is more important. What happens is the problem may be the most difficult one that you may have come across in your life. But if you have this attitude of not letting it go and tackling that particular problem, then no problem is a challenge for you. You can always solve any problem that we come across. So I appreciate again, even before I look at your code, I appreciate you all met yesterday. I was also there for some time while you started this, but then you made an attempt to complete that particular solution. You did not give it halfway through. That's something which is very, very important. Let's have a look at it. So you have question answers, number of students have 0. Now the problem is you are now defining a array where you have used a constant called as number of students, which you have defined later. So if you plan to use something that should be first created, you cannot use something before it is created. So you're using number of students before creating it. So that's not possible. So I'll just change the order. So order should have been something like this. You should first create it and then use it. You cannot use it and then create it. That is not right. You first create it and then use it. And then you have number of questions. That's okay. Number of students are 35, and you also have number of questions. Okay. And student ID, number of students. Why are you storing this? Each student ID test to be entered, output each student's ID, correct answer. Okay. So for every student, we would like to have that. Okay. So you have Boolean number, student result, number of students by number of questions. Perfect. So if there are number of students are 35, they are creating an array of 35 by 20. So your row represents student and column represents the questions, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So whether I'm understanding what you have done, then you have question counter, you also have highest score, which is set to 0, and you have grade that you have created. So for student counter in the range of 0 to number of student -1, step 1, you ask the user to enter the student ID, student counter +1, accept student ID of student counter, student ID. So you're using concept of parallel arrays. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. तो एक स्टूडेंट आईडी आपने एक्सेप्ट कर लिया, उसका आईडी फर्स्ट स्टूडेंट का आईडी एक्सेप्ट कर लिया, then question counter in the range of 0 to number of questions -1, Number of questions are 20. Enter the answer of question number counter plus 1. Okay. Student ID of student counter and question counter. Perfect. If student result of question counter is equal to true, then calculate. Calculate question correct is question correct का भी कह रहे हैं आपके पास कहाँ है? Okay, question correct number of students. So question correct of student counter is equal to question correct of student counter plus 1. That means this is what you are keeping track of, how many questions the first student has answered right. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now if you
सर हमने assume किया है कि अगर वो true देता है तो आंसर करेक्ट.
ठीक है, और ट्रू आपका स्ट्रिंग नहीं है, ट्रू आपका बुलियन वैल्यू है, सो इट नीड नॉट बी इंक्लूडेड इन डबल कोट्स. अगर वो स्ट्रिंग होता तो आपको डबल कोट्स में डालना था, बट यू हैव करेक्टली टेकन array of boolean, so you don't have to put true in quotes. Okay, it's not a string, it's a value. True is a value in this case, or and for. And then once you have finished with all the 20 questions, then you're saying question correct is greater than high score. Now what is high score? High score for the first time you have taken as 0. Okay, that will be the high score if all questions are wrong. So high score, again calculate, you'll say high score is equal to question correct of student counter. That means whatever is this first student's total score, that you are taking as high score. So next time you can again check if the second student score is higher, then it is the high score. Perfect. The first loop looks right. Let's look at the second loop. Student counter in the range of 0 to number student minus 1. Step 1, display the ID of the student counter plus 1. Whenever you write expressions, put it in brackets so that you don't miss out on something. Student counter ID plus 1, just put in bracket student counter of student counter. Okay, that's correct. Here you are just displaying the ID of the student. You are just displaying the ID of the student. Display the number of correct questions of the student counter plus 1. Again, put this in brackets. I'm just giving you good practices. There are reasons behind it, because believe it or not, comma is also an operator. Or question correct. Question correct is greater than or equal to high score minus 2. Then grade is A. Calculate grade is equal to A. If question correct is greater than or equal to high score minus 4, then calculate. If you're only going to display the grade, you could write the display statement at every place by calculate. That was again your choice. Calculate grade is equal to B. If question correct is question correct minus 6, 6 था क्या 4, 6 और 9 उसके गलत हो गया है. ग्रेटर देन और इक्वल टू 2, 4, 6 दिया आपने. ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टू 2 रहेगा तो A ग्रेड है. ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टू 4 रहेगा तो B ग्रेड. ओके, दैट्स करेक्ट. तो कैलकुलेट ग्रेड इज इक्वल टू B. अदरवाइज calculate grade is equal to C. Otherwise, calculate grade is equal to D. Otherwise, calculate grade is equal to Z. Okay, this is correct, but we also need to see whether we could improve the performance even further. Although it is correct, display the grade of the student is grade and highest score in the class is high score. Enter output ID, correct number and grade. So हर एक student का grade कहाँ display किया आपने? Okay, grade of the student is grade here displayed. But have you been asked to display the high score in the class? Has this been asked?
Yes,
It was
sir.
written single high score.
कहाँ दिखा है? Display करो.
Sir, after grade,
Along with single high score in the
output
class.
will be
Yes. Along with single high score in the class. This is correct. But now only question is, can we improve on this particular code even further? This is correct. Anybody, Kaustubh, you are done. You had also given enough thought to this particular question. Do you see any problem over here? Or anybody sees any problem?
No, sir. Actually, I have taken a 2D array instead in the to store student ID and number correct. That's the only change, sir.
Okay. I'll have a look at your solution. But anybody feels anything is wrong over here? Or anybody is not understood any step, those who are specifically not present, If you want, we can just quickly have a recap of that. Yes, anyone? Okay, assuming that everyone has understood, it's a correct solution. I just need to think about, is it the best one? Huh? So let's see what Kaustubh has done, what change he has brought about. Kaustubh. So that's class 1. Tell me, Kaustubh, what change have you brought?
In Ashish and Prithviraj code, they have taken student ID and number correct. So number of questions correct separately. So I thought about it and I introduced it in a single 2D array student
This
record.
your
Yes.
So what are you storing over here?
Uh,
ID and
I student ID and number of students. So
number of students, marks.
number of students is 35, sir. So for 35 students, I am storing so for first number of correct will store 35 values and 2 are for so 2 columns, sir. There are 2 columns, 2 rows and 35 columns.
Correct.
So it will store number correct and student ID, sir.
Then why have you taken number correct as an array, one more array?
Sorry, sir. It will store student ID, sir. Student record, in student record, it will store student ID.
This is not there, na, then?
No. हेलो
ये 2/35 हो गया दोस्तों, करेक्ट?
हाँ यस सर 2/35 का है तो मतलब सो 0 पोजीशन पे आईडी स्टोर होगा और 0 1 पोजीशन पे नंबर करेक्ट स्टोर होगा तो वैसे 35 कॉलम्स है
करेक्ट यानी हर एक स्टूडेंट्स के कितने आंसर्स करेक्ट आए और उसका आईडी क्या है
यस सर
लेट मी सी वेदर यू हैव डन इट राइट या आपने आईडी स्टोर कर दिया Yes, that will work. But yeah, it is correct. But rather, I found this more confusing today. And then you have this loop again, correct? So you have taken name constant instead of the numbers that you are subtracting. So that's another improvement that you have brought about. Otherwise, it's exactly the same, but the 2' is slightly confusing. Let's come back to the previous solution that we have and see whether this can be eliminated. क्या आप कुछ करके ये eliminate कर सकते हैं क्या हम लोग?
वही थोड़ा प्रॉब्लमेटिक था सर कि वो ग्रेड
हो रहा है किसी दिमाग में कुछ आइडिया आ रहा है? Okay, let me try. Suppose I take Just a wild thought. Let me know whether it will work or not. What do you feel? I'm just trying. I don't know whether it will work. So I take grades of 4, and these are 4 possible grades. So A B C D था ना, A B C D नहीं,
EBS.
A B C D F है ना.
Okay. आपके grades है. So here, instead of all this, suppose I'm thinking about, can I eliminate this? So if I write something like this, will it work? Tell me. Any idea? किसी दिमाग में कुछ आया था? अरे हाँ, मैं कुछ इंडेक्स डाल दूं, ऐसा कुछ हो सकता है? No, I don't think anything is possible. So probably this is the only option that you have, what you have done. So good work, everybody. Fantastic answer. Now, I had also asked you to share with me the previous solution that you have solved. So can you all please share the previous solution?
Sir, share किया है sir आपके साथ.
Yeah.
हाँ.
So I'll share this, both the solutions with all of you. So both one are right. See which one you find it easy to understand, and which one you find easy to understand, you could focus on that particular solution. Let's see which one is easy to understand. I'm just sharing both the solutions with all of you. Since we made some slight changes to the solution that Prithviraj and Ashish and others have submitted. So these are 2 solutions that we just now taken up. And I'll share with all of you. Let's also have a look at the other problem that these guys had solved. So that problem was already shared with you all. So nothing new about the problem. तो उसका नाम क्या है इस फाइल का?
Reader data 2.
Do all of you have this particular solution or problem first? क्या ये सबके पास प्रॉब्लम है क्या? Let me know.
Yes, sir.
Department has collected reader survey. Will's Lifestyle magazine wants to analyze demographic character of its readers. The marketing department has collected reader survey record containing age, gender, marital status, and annual income of the readers. First part we have served. Produce a count of reader by age in the following group: younger than 20, 20 to 29, 30 to 30. This is the one that we had solved in the last session. Produce a count of readers by gender with age group, that is under 20, under 20 males, and so on. Produce a count of reader by income group, under 3 lakhs, between 3 lakh to 499, and between 5 lakh to 699, and less than 7. So you have some variables. Let us just go through the solution, and we are now going to start with a new topic too. But before that, let us go through this particular solution. There are so many requirements that we have. We produce a count. Produce a count. Count or produce no? तो एक था produce a count of readers by age group. So now that we have accepted details of all those people, life went endless characteristics. So yeah, I had made some assumption, number of records were 1,000. That was an assumption that we had made, correct? So there are 1,000 people whose demographic characteristics were captured by Will's lifestyle marketing department. And they collected information about the users, including their age, gender, marital status, annual income of the readers. So all this information that they have collected about the readers. And now they would like to find how many are in this group, how many males and females are present in every group, and what is the count of people in various income groups. So for that, you have number of readers, we have age of readers का एक array, gender का एक array है, marital status का एक array है, annual income का एक array है, reader counter है, group है, integer group. Are you using it in your integer group?
Yes, sir. पांच ग्रुप है ना सर इसमें.
Okay, you're using it. Group. Then number of gender groups 2. Minimum age group is 2. Minimum age group of 5 is equal to 50. ये क्या है?
सर वो मिनिमम एज ग्रुप 5, एज ग्रुप
Age of group 2. Minimum
हाँ.
age of group 2. Correct? That is 20. Minimum age of group 5 is 50. Okay, there are 5 groups. So हर एक group के अंदर का age दे रहा. Minimum age group. Number of age groups is 5. Okay. And age group of number of gender groups, that is 2. And number of age groups, that is 5. So 2 by 5 का एक array created. Why is this array created?
सर टू स्टोर मेल एंड फीमेल विद इन दैट एज ग्रुप.
So why?
सर हमें है ना सेकंड जो प्रॉब्लम है ना सर, हमने फर्स्ट जो सॉल्व किया था उसमें सिर्फ सिंगल एरे लिया था ना, तो सेकंड प्रॉब्लम सब प्रॉब्लम जो है उसके लिए सर सेकंड 2/5 का एरे लिया.
Acha, that means how many females are there, how many males are there in every group, correct?
यस यस.
Okay, so for that you are done. Okay. Then number of income group is 4. Income group का एक array है. So here we are going to keep a count as to how many are present in that income group. And you have taken 3 income group, income level is 0. Okay. For reader counter in the range. So here what you are doing is you are only accepting all the required data. In the first loop, you have accepted data from the user. Watch it. You have accepted data from the user. Display, enter the age of the reader in years. Display age of the reader counter. Display, please enter the gender of the reader, male, female. We are accepting the gender. Display, enter the marital status of the reader, married, unmarried, and you are accepting the marital status of that particular reader. So these are all parallel arrays. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All these are parallel array because 0th place in this array and 0th place in this array and 0th place in this array and 0th place in this array are all information corresponding to a single reader.
Yes, sir.
Everybody? Ashish? Ashish?
Yes, sir.
Ruturaj?
Yes.
Sure? Monica? ये parallel array है क्या? 0th place in this array, 0th place in this array, 0th place in this array, and 0th place in this array. Is that information about a particular reader? Harsh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's a parallel array actually. That means what you're doing is you are having all these arrays. You are not taken 2-dash array, you are taken single-dash array, and in each array at the 0th place. So 0th place पे अगर ऋषिकेश का age है, तो 0th place पे in this array, if I enter in 0th place my age, in this array I'll enter my gender, in this array I'll enter my marital status, in this array I'll enter my income. So row 5, 4 different arrays: annual income, marital status, gender of the reader, and age group. All these array at a particular position are storing values of corresponding to the same reader. So age reader of 1 will be corresponding to the second reader for all this. Is that okay, everybody? That means we have 5 different arrays. If you want, I can just quickly draw for you, or if I have an Excel sheet, suppose. Suppose I have 5 arrays. This is the first array. And if this array suppose in this array this is my array and this is the index, suppose 0, 1, these are indexes. Suppose likewise we'll have till 1000. So we have one more array. Suppose we have one more array. This was an array of 8, suppose. So if this at this location, if I store somebody's age, if this was the array of age and this was the array of income, so at the same place, suppose my age is suppose 55. So and here my income is suppose 4 lakhs. Suppose it's 4 lakh. So what have I done? At the first location, whosever age you store in this array, his income you store in this array. Likewise, somebody's age is suppose 22 and his income is suppose 7 lakhs. 7 lakhs. So 7 lakhs. So in this, यहाँ जहाँ जिसका age है at the index number 1, at the index number 1 in another array, उसी का income stored है. So that's the concept of parallel array. So you may have multiple arrays. At the corresponding position in the subsequent array, you have information which is related to each other. Then किसी का नाम रह सकता है, whatever. So that's a concept of parallel array. So what have you done? You have accepted all the details over here in all the arrays. And then you start for reader counter in the range of 0 to number of readers minus 1. If nesting has to be proper. ऐसा नहीं लिख सकते. ये बुरा means bad way of writing the code. So let me do a proper nesting for you. So nest कर रहे आप. So when you nest, use tabs. So that you have to have a very clear differentiation की कौन से condition में क्या है. So actually, if gender of the reader is male, then age of the reader counter less than minimum age group 2. Then age group 0 of 0 is equal to age group of 0 of 0 plus 1. Okay. If age of the reader of counter greater than equal to age group of 5, then age group of 0,4, that means last इसमें store करें आप, age group of 0,4 is equal to 1. And then calculate group is equal to age group of reader counter whatever accepted divided by 10 minus 1. What is this divided by 10 minus 1?
सर वो हमें इंडेक्स देगा.
अच्छा 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 के लिए. ओके. तो अगर 30 है तो 30 minus divided by 10 is 3, 3 minus 1 is 2. So at this 2th position inside that array age group of 0 you are going to store this. So age group of 0. Okay. यानी age group of 0 पे group ये गलत हो गया. नहीं सही है. Okay. So here it is like for the first group, this is for the last group, and this is for a groups in between, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes. 3 groups.
Okay, that's correct. But this also needs to. ये किसकी भी else है? ये outermost if का else है, तो उसी के line में चाहिए. Else if it's female, So the indentation will help you to understand where to go. That means अगर ये पहला condition false है तो मुझे क्या मालूम है कि S में जाना है. ये दूसरा condition false है तो यहाँ गए, ये तीसरा है, ये false है तो यहाँ जाएंगे. So indentation is very important here. You will not get away with writing a code just because everything has been done. No, indentation is very important. And those who don't believe me, go through SonarQube. They will tell you how to check for the quality of the code. When you write a code, your code will be passed through some tools. And these tools will give you score of the quality of your code. And if your score is below certain things, your boss will even not look at your code, however right it may be. So there are a lot of tools. I had told you about a site. Do visit this site and understand about what are so many different parameters on which they check for the code. So let me just show you, take you to some site, and they will give you some good information. So go to code coverage, you can go to this Sonar source. And this is a company, what do you do? Clean Code Principles and Practices, June 21. You can all very well register. Free है seminar. तो आप लोग भी मैं चाहूंगा कि इसको ये करें. What I am teaching you right now are small this clean code practices only I am teaching you. And if they are arranging a seminar, do register. There's even day before yesterday I attended one of the seminars. It was very good. And तो अगर है तो आप लोग भी, I just share this link with you all. Let me see the agenda for this particular meeting. Looks like the machine is also very tired, like what I am today. Core principle description. ये है 5 PM CST. So register your details over here. I'll quickly register myself. For you, you can use your college ID. Register. So the agenda is like they will walk you the Holy Grail. So I am just sharing this link with you all. Okay. Clean Code Principles. A developer to produce work with code that is simple to understand and modify, but that remains strong and secure for optimum performance. And performance चाहिए, code simple चाहिए. These are like basic expectations that are there. So watch and see how what level people talk about writing good quality code. So and there you'll find there a lot of products, and for trial purpose, all these products are freely available. Home of Clean Code. Look at that, 7 million developers are using to build that particular code. And they have a lot of tools which are freely available. So go through this particular site and you can have a look at their products. SonarLint is one product. SonarQube is another product. Okay, they will do code based inspection. And here on the fly quality. This is very strict, but I had installed it and it was so tedious to keep a track of every program that I write that I later decided to, at least while teaching, I'll not use it. Because then for every small thing, it'll tell you, oh, this is not the best way to do it. This is not the best way to do it. This is not the best way to do it. So it will real-time feedback as you type the code, and it gives you support for all the languages that you really want. So in our course, we're learning Java, JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, C++, and Java. So all the languages that we're going to have in our course are having support over here. We'll be learning HTML. Okay, Kotlin will not do, we will not be doing. And it is integrated with all the IDs, almost all the IDs. Look at that. It can be integrated with almost all the IDs. And you could just fill in the details and get it download. Clean as you code. Okay. So there are a lot of things. So I'm just sharing this with you. So I want you to have an idea about what industry, what practices industry uses. I'm just sharing the link with you all. Then I share the link with you. Okay. So the first part was right. And you have done the same thing for female then?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Nice, same thing for female. Only thing that you're doing is 0 ki jagah aap yahan 1 use kare. So it is 2 of something, correct? Number of gender groups by this. So 2 by 5 ka array aapke paas, okay? And then to print it, you said group in the range of 0 to number of each group minus 1. Step 1, display number of readers in the group plus 1 are so and so. And ye kya kiya hai? Why have you added this?
सर वो फर्स्ट सब प्रॉब्लम को प्रिंट करने के लिए। सिर्फ ग्रुप बाय एज बोला था ना, काउंट बोला था ना, सिर्फ एज ग्रुप के हिसाब से।
Number of readers बोला था, मेल फीमेल दोनों भी ऐसा था, है ना?
हाँ हाँ हाँ।
Okay, and then number of male are 0 group and display number of females are so and so. Okay, so that's correct. What you have done? Print the count of readers according to income groups. Okay, income groups के लिए आपने account reader of income group is income group and so on. Good. अब मुझे बताइए, ये आपका for loop यहाँ हो चुका है खत्म, तो ये कहाँ है? ये कहाँ डाला हुआ है? If this for loop is getting over here, ये कहाँ है?
देने का रहेगा शायद फॉर लूप देने का रहेगा सर।
और लूप देने का रह गया, ऐसे कैसे रह के चलेगा? आप सबने मिलके सॉल्व किया था नहीं?
हाँ।
Okay, so you wanted to have one more for loop over here? Reader counter once again. Let's do a proper indentation for it. आप जो स्पेस से करते हो ना, वो स्पेस से करो ही ना, इंडेंटेशन हमेशा टैब से ही करो। जो आप स्पेस से करते हो मत करो। And the best way for me to check कि आपने space use किया है, tab use किया है, I will show you. We can print display non-printable characters. So just have a look over here. यहाँ आपके पास एक ऑप्शन होता है display non-printable characters. तो जहाँ ये arrow दिखाई देगा ये है, और जहाँ आपने space डाल दिया वहाँ एक dot आ रहा है. Can you see that?
Yes sir.
So you can always see non-printable characters. आपने क्या किया? Space डाला है या tab डाला है. That's always possible in all the IDs. So ये complete हो गया with this and this. Okay. So have you all understood the solution first, even before we proceed with our topic for today's discussion? Yes.
Yes,
Have you
sir.
all? Okay. Even if you have understood, this problem is very difficult to keep a track of. If somebody is going to write a logic, the code based on this algorithm, there's quite a possibility that he will get lost when he sees such a big code. Yeah, believe me, I have written almost 100 lines code, around 100, if not exactly 100. Even if I remove this first 5-6 lines, even then 90, around 90 lines code you have written. This is more like a small application that you have created. 90 lines is a very big code that you are writing. Huh? So probably many programmers will fail to write this particular code. So you should feel happy that you have written some complex logic. But the way you have represented, it's too intimidating. देखते ही डर लग जाएगा यार ये क्या है इतना सारा कुछ करना है यार. It's very intimidating. Plus, these codes are difficult to test. समझो, if I wanted कि है ना यहाँ वो income group को ही मुझे test करके देखना था. I cannot do that. I'll have to test it for all the things now. Because when you run this particular code, when you write a code in this fashion, so I'll have to go through all the steps. So unless I do not finish with the first for loop, I'll not be in a position to check the second for loop. Until the time I don't check the second for loop, I'll not be in a position to check the next for loop and so on. So testing over here is also very complex. So what is recommended? What is recommended is when you come across a program, and in the program, if there are a lot of tasks which have been assigned to be done, and this could be related, this could be unrelated tasks that you have, okay, but they are all part of the same program. Here, there exists a possibility that you can reorganize that particular code. That means it's the same code that you'll be writing, but the way you will organize can definitely be changed. Now, what is that you will actually be changing over here? I think today there is some lag in what I'm speaking as well. Yes or no? So I see now it's also not in sync. Just I was in wireless network, now let me go in for wired. Let's see what happens if I'm on wired network. And there is no change. Hopefully, it is better now. It's wired network. So let's begin. So I was talking about a scenario where there is a large piece of code that you have written, and at every stage you have done something which is totally different. That means one stage you are counting total number of people, another place you are counting the number of males, another place you are counting number of females, other place you are doing grouping based on their income and so on. If you come across such kind of scenario, then it is better to decompose your code. You have written one big program, rather divide that big program into several small programs and focus on one part of it. I know during discussion you did the same thing. I had heard your discussion कि चलो पहले ये solve करते हैं. तो जो आपने कहा था कि चलो पहले ये solve करते हैं, क्यों ना वो अलग program ही लिखा जाए. तो decompose it, create different programs, and then club all those programs to create one large application. इसका एक advantage बताता हूँ. Now, while you are working with this particular program, suppose, while you are working on this particular program, and I thought, suppose this code मुझे पहले discuss करना है, you would not be possible unless until you have not finished with the rest of the code that you cannot jump onto that particular program. But say in your team, you are 4 or 5 people. Couldn't you have told one person, you focus on thinking about a logic to write this particular part of the code? You could have told other group, you think about handling how to calculate the age group or number of males and number of females. And one group could have been told, oh, you think about a logic to calculate the income group, provided we already have this array called as income group, the array of leader. Yeah, array आपके पास अगर है, तो आप उस पे focus कीजिएगा. That could have been very well done. So instead of the entire team thinking about one solution at a time, there are right now 10 of you. So 3 could have been working on this logic, 3 could have been working on this logic, and 3 could have been working on this particular logic. After you have decided a basic variables kya hai, you could have done that. So this divide and conquer strategy enables you to build complex code by dividing a task into several subtasks. Now I'm going to take a small case over here, how this particular division can be done. And then I would expect you to apply this particular logic to this fantastic code that you all have written. I appreciate the way you have written this code. I tell you, ask your seniors also to solve this problem, and they too would not write the way you have written. In colleges, those are in colleges, Ashish, Prithviraj, Harsh, ask your seniors. Many of your seniors will struggle to write this particular code. They will struggle. Not that they will not do it, they will still struggle. So you should feel happy that you are now at a stage that you can write such complex program. It's a complex code. If you can write this code, you can solve any other problem. Take my word. So what it requires is you applying your mind towards that problem and then you thinking. But then such large problems should not be a part of one solution. They should be divided. You should decompose it. Decompose it to such an extent that you cannot decompose it any further. And that's decomposition is nothing but what in some languages we call them as procedures. In some languages we call them as functions. In some language we call them as submodules. So there are different names by which we call this as. But the basic idea is to divide a bigger program into several small programs. Basic idea is to divide a bigger program into several small programs. Unfortunately, throughout this discussion, we have not been discussing too much about validation of data. So today, with this decomposition, I'll also do some validation. And then the solution that you have written is an assignment for you. That solution you have to decompose. So it is a fantastic solution that you all have written. But आपको मुझे decompose करके दिखाना है. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save this particular solution. It was reader data 2, correct? And I'm sharing this particular file with all of you. So आपका assignment क्या रहेगा कि आपको ये problem solve करना है, decompose करना है. But I'll teach you first how to decompose by using concept of functions. So I hope you have all received this solution, which is an assignment for you. You have to redesign this, not rewrite, redesign based on what we have learned. I'll show you flowchart as well as pseudocode. So first, let me start with flowcharts because long time we have not worked with our flow algorithm. Ashish, Viraj was telling me we cannot create array. सब कुछ कर सकते हैं, array create कर सकते हैं, सब कुछ create कर सकते हैं. But let's take one problem. I'll write a pseudocode for it first, the traditional way that you have doing, and then we'll rewrite that particular code. See the change in the design. आप जरा सिर्फ focus कीजिएगा program के design पे कैसे change हो जाता है. And then ask me whatever question that comes to your mind. If you feel sir आप unnecessary काम करें तो बताइए unnecessary कहाँ लग रहा है आपको. अगर आपको लगता है ये अच्छी बात है तो मुझे बताइए आपको क्या अच्छा लगा. I'll take a very simple problem right now to work with. Note down the problem statement. We'll solve that particular problem right now. And then I'll show you how to decompose the same problem. Let me think about a simple problem, but it should not be that small that I cannot introduce this concept. I want to show you two things. One is validation of inputs. There is decomposition. Both I would like to show you. Just give me a minute for me to think about an appropriate problem statement.
कैलकुलेटर टाइप कुछ होएगा क्या?
कौन सा?
कैलकुलेटर टाइप अरिथमेटिक ऑपरेशन करेंगे और नंबर कैलकुलेटर टाइप अरिथमेटिक ऑपरेशन करेंगे एंड नंबर ऑफ अरिथमेटिक ऑपरेशन सब्ट्रैक्शन मल्टीप्लिकेशन
कर सकते हैं. That's a good suggestion. उसमें validation भी रहेगा. ठीक है. So I'll design a question based on it. Write down. Accept two integers. In the range of 1 to 100. So there is a condition that is given. We have to accept two integers. Both are in the range of 1 to 100. In the range of 1 to 100. And in the range of 1 to 100. And एक काम करते हैं, two integers में. I will change the question. Accept a integer in the range of 1 to 100. Two नहीं. Accept a integer in the range of 1 to 100. And display its factorial and display its factorial or print its factors, or print its factors, displays factorial, or print its factors, or check whether it's prime, depending on the user wish. Depending on user wish. Have you all understood the question? सागर समझ में आ गया क्वेश्चन? बताइए क्या समझा आपने? Explain your own words, Sagar.
Yes, sir. Sir, so basically we have to accept an integer which lies between 1 to 100.
Correct.
And we have to ask whether the user wants a factorial or factors of the number, or it is prime. And
Or
we
check
have
whether it's
to
prime.
or check whether it's prime. And we have to build a solution on that.
Correct. So depending on what user enters a choice, he says मुझे factors print करना तो factors ही print करना चाहिए. कहता है factorial चाहिए तो only factorials to be printed. And if he says I want to check whether it's prime or not, then you should check whether it's prime or not. That should be done on the user choice. So I'm going to solve it for you. Don't worry. Have a look at the solution, and then we'll talk about the concept that I was talking about. So let's jump ahead with the algorithm. If somebody has later type the question, you could just add it to this file, the solution, the problem statement. But I'm directly starting. This is, I'll call this as let's start directly.
सर फ्लोगोरिथम में करना था ना?
Yes.
सर वी आर डूइंग इन फ्लोगोरिथम ना?
Yeah, I'll be doing logarithm as well. पहले यहाँ draw करते हैं, and then
Okay,
we'll
okay.
first write it. I'll explain the
Okay.
concept of logarithm based learning. So we have a number that we would like to accept. Then we have int choice that we have. Users want to enter a choice, whether you want like to calculate factorial, what you want to do. So we're going to create a menu game program. So today I'll teach you how to create a menu as well. So integer number in choice, and then I'll say integer factorial, integer factor, and int counter. So these are three variables that I thought we'll require. Then I'll say display please enter integer in the range of 1 to 100 ही कहा है ना?
Yes, sir.
I've given a user a message saying please enter integer in the range of 0 to 100. And then accept. No. So although you may have given a correct message, enter integer in the range of 0 to 100 and accept none. But is there a guarantee that user will enter the number in the range of 0 to 1 to 100? आपने कहा है 1 to 100, he enters 200. Here 200 is just stored, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes.
आपने भले ही मैसेज दिया है एंटर इंटीजर इन द रेंज ऑफ 1 to 100, वो गधा है आपका ऑपरेटर. इतना क्लियर मैसेज देने पर भी he enters -100. उसको लगता है 1 dash -100 तो -100 है, and he enters -100. Is that what you are expecting? No.
No.
So you have some counters आपको एक रेंज है, एक मिनिमम इंटीजर का रेंज है और एक मैक्स इंटीजर का रेंज है, that's 1 to 100. So here we are said integer in the range of 0 to 1 to 100, that's okay, but I'll have to check if num greater than max int or num less than min int. Then अगर ऐसा हो जाता है, we'll have to display an error message. Display.
हॅलो सर.
Yes, please.
सर आपल्याला ते असं एक्सप्रेशन लिहिता येतं का की मॅक्स इंट लेस देन नम अँड ग्रेटर देन मिन इंट.
That is allowed right now. Recently, last year, since last year, it is allowed by introduction of operator called as Walrus operator. Just last year, this introduction has happened in one of the languages, but traditionally, it is not allowed in any of the languages. Is that okay?
येस सर.
But since last year, it is now allowed in some of them. And although it is allowed, there is a lot of debate over it. Should it be should they continue with this or not? So, जिस पे अभी तक है ना, what do you say? The programming
येस सर. येस.
आवाज ब्रेक होतोय असं वाटतंय, माझे ते आवाज येत नाहीये.
माझ्यात पण
Sir, you are not audible.
Network issue असेल sir.
louder.
Sir, you are not
You are
audible.
not audible.
Okay. Hold on. Can you all hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it was a controversial decision that was made last year by none other than creator of Python. So I was asking, does anybody know who is creator of Python? Okay. So a bit of general knowledge is also something which is very, very important. Since you all are from IT field, तो जनरल नॉलेज रहना चाहिए. मीन्स अपने अपने डोमेन का तो कम से कम जनरल नॉलेज चाहिए. तो अगर आप आईटी में से हो तो यू शुड बी इन अ पोजीशन टू नो अबाउट व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन दिस पर्टिकुलर डोमेन. कौन से कंपनी का कौन सीईओ है, हु क्रिएटेड व्हिच लैंग्वेजेस एंड सो ऑन. So this is a fellow, a Dutch programmer, who during his college assignment created this language, Guido van Rossum. He is the fellow who created this particular language called as Python. And believe me, it was a university project. So think about it. Your project can also turn out to be a technology which millions of people may use. And he recently resigned from the Python and joined Microsoft and so on. Quite an old fellow, 67 years old, Guido van Rossum. So I'm just telling his story. So he proposed this particular idea. And since he was heading the community, Python community, obviously he's the creator, so he was heading, he introduced this particular feature. And there was quite a backlash for that particular decision that he has taken. A lot of people started criticizing. The criticism went to such an extent, and so many senior people who are well reputed criticized his decision that he resigned from Python. He said, if my decision so many good people don't like, then I don't feel I have the faith of my team. So somebody else who has who people believe he's doing the right decision can take it over. So he decided resign. And it was because of the operator that you are asking me right now. Statement likhe kya? So
Yes.
my point of contention is it is a very controversial decision. So kya pata aage jaake it could be accepted by the community. Community means you and me, all everybody who is a developer. And if the acceptance is not there, this feature may also be eliminated from the language. But ये जो tradition हम लोग हैं ना, this or this या nested if, this will always going to be there. So I'll stick to what is traditionally the case rather than using an expression which is even today controversial, But I cannot say it is not supported. It is supported today. I do not know which will always remain to be supported or not. I do not know. Okay, there is a controversy. So such stories help you to remember the operators also. So point while you learn a language is not like you only keep on learning the language and it becomes monotonous, that's boring. There are so many stories with every aspect that is there. And if you remember the story, you remember the feature also, the good part, the bad part. So if somebody tells me why not to use Walrus operator, I will give you the opinion that people who are opposing are giving. If somebody tells you why to use Walrus operator, I'll give you the opinion what Guido had given. So if you read such stories, what is happening, it will help you to understand how the languages are evolved, what features can you expect to come in the languages, and why some features are not there in the languages. So do be in touch with the community site, subscribe to it. You'll get some newsletters where you get these updates, what are happening in this domain. And now you all are developers, correct? So you should be a part of this discussion communities as well. So small story I shared out to you also regarding Guido Walrus. Okay, now
Sir,
coming to
can you
our-
show how he wrote it?
how is it
How he
written?
was saying, yes, sir.
Okay, how he has represented it. Okay, I'll just show you. He, what Kaustu was asking, I could have written the same statement. Is statement in Apka? Yes or no?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes,
That is
sir.
to check in the range, ना? Yeah, range में check करें ना हम लोग. Range है, minimum to maximum के range के अंदर है
Yes,
कि
sir.
नहीं?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the same statement I could have written something like this. Agar if I go with what Guido says. I also don't use it. I am also not a fan of it. Let me just cross check.
Sir, वो minimum in greater than
Huh? Yeah, let me just check it out. This was this. Was it this operator or I think I messed it up. I think I missed two stories.
But sir, was it working?
Yeah, it's working. So it's three-way comparison operator. It is introduced in C++, where you are asking. Yeah, what I did. Yeah, it's a spaceship operator. Sorry, not the Walrus. It's the spaceship operator that has been given. I said spaceship. It's called a spaceship operator. And many languages like PHP, Ruby, Apache, Groovy, Perl, C++20 have now started providing you support for this operator. Spaceship. Sorry, not the Walrus operator. Sorry, yeah. Walrus operator story is different. This is a spaceship operator which allows what he has done. Three-way comparison operator, what he is talking about. So it's for ordering less than equal to या greater than 18 ordering के लिए etc. Negative positive 0 तो अगर आपके पास है तो you can just say less than or equal ऐसे. If it is greater than or equal to three-way comparison, what we saying, so you could use this particular operator. It is less than equal to या greater than. Take two value B, A and B belonging to the type of total order determines whether A less than B, A equal to B, or A greater than B in single operation. So तीनों value check करेगा A greater than B, A equal to B, या A greater than B. यानी तीन operation करेगा. Not exactly what you are asking for. Even this three-way comparison. It's a spaceship operator. Python allows what you said right now. I'll just show you both. So ये Python में allowed है. This is what is allowed in Python. So let me just do a cross check. So what comes to us is definitely allowed in Python. And to do that, we go to documentations and we go with operators. Okay, instead of spending this time, let's directly do it over here. Looks like I have not installed Python over here. So let me go into Ubuntu and check. Something is very wrong with my system today. It's just taking a long time. It didn't take me so long. Ubuntu. Yeah, we'll go here with online Python. Yeah, आ चुका है. So I say Python 3. Okay, Python started. Let's start. Now, suppose if I have two numbers, say n1 is equal to 10, and I want to check whether n1 is greater than equal to or less than, greater than, less than, and something else. Three values I have to check. So I say n1 greater than equal to 10 है क्या? कहता है 2 है. n1 equal to 10 है क्या? कहता है equal to 10 है क्या? 2 है. Then I check n1 greater than or equal to 10 है क्या? Less than or equal to 10 है क्या? कह रहा है 2 है. तो तीन चेक किया मैंने. Equal to है क्या? Greater than है क्या? Less than है क्या? Less than equal to है क्या? If I say n1 आपको रेंज में चेक करना था. वो स्पेसिफिक ऑपरेटर C++ नहीं. So I can say 10 less than n1 and greater than 100. ये कह रहा है कंपैरिजन है. अभी आपका रेंज था n1 is greater than 1 and less than 100 है क्या? सपोज आपका n1 का वैल्यू 10 है. तो I'll say
सर वो लेस देन 100.
we'll do it. Really wrong. So I could say N1 56 1 less than N1 and that is less than 100. तो कहता है true है. पर अगर N1 की वैल्यू -1 हो, N1 का वैल्यू इज इक्वल टू -1 है, and then when I write that ये false आ रहा है,
Yes.
और N1 का वैल्यू अगर 666 है और अगर चेक करूँ ये भी false आ रहा है. बट अगर N1 का वैल्यू इज एनीवेयर इन द रेंज, ये 34 अपने रेंज में है, तो ये ट्रू आ रहा है. बराबर क्या?
Yes, sir.
दोस्तों जॉब कह रहे थे. So this is what has been done. This is not about Walrus operator. Walrus operator is about assignment. So sometimes even I miss out. So, but this is something which is there. And similar thing has now been made possible in C++ using three-way comparison of it. एक ऐसा operator C++ time. But then these are not the recommended ways, because this makes it confusing. I would rather write it in like this: N1 less greater than or equal to 1 and N1 less than or equal to 100. ये भी true आ रहा है. Yes, अगर N1 की वैल्यू 666 है, ये लिखूंगा तो ये false आ रहा है. So we write traditionally in this fashion, and Python now allows you to write in this fashion as well. Is that okay? तो
So
दोस्तों,
sir,
ये
that
तरीका है.
N1,
Pardon?
sir, that N1 written in between, that method was criticized.
No. It was Walrus operator that was criticized. I mistakenly mixed two stories. Walrus operator concept that was criticized. So
Sir, this is accepted everywhere.
no, not everywhere. Now in Python, not in everywhere. Most of the languages don't support this. Okay. So I'll not use that. I'll rather stick to what is accepted everywhere. But I'll let it say and over. Then see if max greater than in min greater than equal to int min, अच्छा greater than max, or it is less than min, or ही चाहिए, or it is greater than min, then display the input integer is not in the expected range of 1 to 100. ऐसा मैसेज आप देखोगे, and then end it. Is that okay?
Double quotes.
Louder?
Double quotes.
Oh, very correct. Double quotes भी चाहिए. Have you understood this? But what is the use? Your program will continue after line number 17. ये आगे का कोड रन करेगा. So even if you are given a number as -55, it will still proceed further by making an attempt to calculate factor of -45. Will this make your program stop? Will this force the user to enter the right input?
No,
Yes, sir.
sir.
कैसे? यहाँ आपने सही आंसर दिया तो ये सही है बोलते हुए आगे सही प्रोग्राम काम करेगा. If you give the number as 100, 1000, तो ये एरर मैसेज प्रिंट करेगा कि input not in the range, and still it will continue after end if.
Yes.
So this is, हाँ बोलिए.
No, sir. Yes, sir. बोल रहा था.
Okay, so in this case we'll have to go in with a repeat until loop. या do while loop. तो एक do while लेते हैं और यहाँ एक end if यहाँ डाल देते हैं. end if. I'll teach you one concept now. और यहाँ लिखते हैं do while true. अब while true मतलब ये कंडीशन हमेशा true. It will never be false. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's an infinite loop that I've taken. It is an infinite loop that I've taken. You'll never come out of the loop. But if the user enters an input which is not in this range, इसका मतलब क्या रहेगा? It is not greater than max in and it's not smaller than min in. It means
You will
If के
come out
अंदर
of,
जाएगा,
yes.
if के अंदर जाएगा.
If के अंदर जाएगा नहीं, मतलब जो दिया है वो क्या है फिर? Expected value है. ये सब
हाँ हाँ
एक्सपेक्टेड है ना, तो यहाँ एल्स में ऐसे ब्रेक एंड एंड. So what I have done, break will terminate this infinite loop. Break will terminate this infinite loop. So I'm saying please enter the integer in the range of 1 to 100. User enter the number. You say user enters 50. Is 50 greater than 100?
No.
Is 50 less than 50 less than 1?
No.
No. So else में गया break. Break takes the control out of the loop. Break will terminate this loop. Loop से आगे बाहर चले जाओगे. So let's take another case. User enters -50. Is -50 greater than 100?
No.
Is -50 less than 1?
Yes.
Will print a message input integer not in the expected range. Else में तो जाएगा नहीं. ये while true है तो दोबारा user को बोलेगा please enter the integer in the range of 1 to 100. So this loop will keep on running till the time user doesn't enter the right input. So this will force the user to give the right data. If the user gives the wrong data, it will not terminate the loop. It will just keep on running. So here we are forcing the user to give the right input. Understood this, everybody?
Yes.
Viraj?
Yes, sir.
So this will terminate the loop. ये लूप को टर्मिनेट करेगा, बट कब करेगा टर्मिनेट? जब यहाँ आओगे. यहाँ कब आओगे आप? When this condition is false. When will this condition be false? When you enter the right input. If you give the wrong input which is more than 100 or less than 1, it will just display the message saying it's out of the not in the expected range. And again, it will go back and say, please enter in the range of 1 to 100 and so on, and accept the number. So you return a loop, which is an infinite loop. Infinite means this loop will never break. It will break only when you break this particular, when this break statement is encountered. Understood this, everybody?
Sir, if it breaks, then it will move forward, na?
Pardon?
If it breaks, then it will go forward, right?
It will come to line number 21.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so we have now written, see in how to validate the input. So we have validated input, we are forcing the user to write the right data. Then what we'll have to do, watch it. I'll do it only partially. Say user wants to calculate either factorial or print factors, suppose. आपका और क्या था? Check whether it's prime or not. So I'll do it partially. आप complete कर सकते हैं. So here I'll ask the user. I'm going to write display a menu. So I'm going to say display. ऐसा हमने एक मेनू बनाया दिया और एक ठीक है. Yes or no? So we are displaying a menu, 1 for calculating factorial, 2 for factor and practice, 3 for check if it's prime, and we give a message to you, enter your choice 1, 2, 3. 1 रहेगा तो calculate factorial, 2 रहेगा तो print factors, 3 रहेगा तो print check if it's prime. Is that okay, everybody?
yes sir.
Yes, sir.
Now यहाँ भी एक प्रॉब्लम है. यूजर ने दिया 6, तो क्या करोगे?
फिर से ब्रेक वाले स्टेटमेंट.
तो गलत हो रहा है ना. आपके पास 3 ही चॉइस थे. तो अगेन विल राइट एन इनफाइनाइट लूप. डू डालेंगे. आपको मालूम है चॉइस क्या होना चाहिए? उसके उन तीनों में से एक चॉइस है तो ठीक है, नहीं है तो हमें उसको इनफाइनाइट चलना है। तो यह ऐसे वाइल ट्रू, ये भी इनफाइनाइट चलेगा। अगर गलत चॉइस दिया है तो आपको वैल्यू देना होगा। तो आई से इफ चॉइस इक्वल टू 1, देन चॉइस अगर 1 है तो क्या करूंगा मैं, आई राइट द कोड टू कैलकुलेट फैक्टोरियल, एल्स वॉच इट, मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ, इफ चॉइस इक्वल टू 2, देन क्या करना है आपको, राइट द कोड टू कैलकुलेट
Print factors.
print factors, else if choice is equal to 3, then क्या कोड लिखना है आपको,
Check prime.
एंड यहाँ लिखूंगा मैं incorrect choice, enter, end if, end if, end if। अगर इनकरेक्ट चॉइस एंटर आ जाता है तो इसमें से बाहर नहीं आएंगे, तो ये वो लूप चलता रहेगा। अगर चॉइस 1 दिया है, सही चॉइस दिया है, तो एक काम करने के बाद मैं कहूंगा ब्रेक। चॉइस 2 दिया है, ये भी चॉइस सही है, या आई कुड टेक वन वेरिएबल, इज द चॉइस करेक्ट और नॉट, ऐसा भी ले सकते हैं। तो यहाँ एक बुलियन वेरिएबल ले सकते थे, तो यहाँ ले सकते हैं। यहाँ पे क्या करना होगा, इफ यूजर एंटर चॉइस एज 1, तो ये कंडीशन ट्रू रहेगा, विल डू ऑल द कैलकुलेशन एंड देन से राइट चॉइस इक्वल टू ट्रू। एंड ये जब यहाँ होगे, नीचे तो जाओगे नहीं आप, यहाँ होगे वाइल राइट चॉइस नॉट इक्वल टू ट्रू, राइट चॉइस ट्रू है, तो यहाँ पे आप प्रोग्राम को स्टॉप कर सकते हो। तो here we'll have to write a code to calculate factorial. So I'll say now tell me whether this code is correct. Is that right? क्या सबको समझ में आएगा क्या क्या? अगर चॉइस 1 देता है यूजर, if user give choice as 1, if choice equal to 1, then calculate factor is equal to 1, and then we run a for loop from 1 in the counter in the range of 1 to number, factor is equal to factor into counter, and we display the factorial of the number is factorial, and then we say right choice is true. तो यहाँ राइट चॉइस नॉट इक्वल टू कंडीशन फॉल्स है तो स्टॉप हो गए. यहाँ चॉइस 2 क्या था, प्रिंट फैक्टर्स. तो आई लाइक टू से अगेन हमने कहा द फैक्टर्स ऑफ नंबर एज फॉलोस. तो अगर वो है डिवीजन जा रहा है डिस्प्ले आई विल से काउंटर indif. Have you understood this? So I am displaying writing a loop. This loop will terminate when only when you enter the right choice. Right choice कब रहेगा? अगर आपने choice 1 दिया है तो right choice is 2. अगर आपने choice 2 दिया है तो right choice is 2. अगर आपने choice 3 दिया है तो right choice is 3. Here we'll write the code to calculate prime. And then right choice 2 रहेगा. अगर आपने 1 2 3 के अलावा कुछ input दिया रहेगा तो ऐसे incorrect choice. राइट चॉइस का वैल्यू भी फॉल्स है, फॉल्स नॉट इक्वल टू ट्रू, तो ये लूप चलता रहेगा. हैव यू अंडरस्टूड माय पॉइंट? हाउ टू क्रिएट अ मैनी ड्रोन प्रोग्राम? यस और नो? एवरी फीडबैक चाहिए सबका. तो हियर वी डिड सम वैलिडेशन फॉर द इनपुट. हियर आल्सो वी आर डूइंग वैलिडेशन बाय राइटिंग दिस इफ एल्स. चॉइस अगर 1 है तो ये काम कीजिएगा, चॉइस अगर 2 है तो ये काम कीजिएगा, चॉइस अगर 3 है तो ये काम कीजिएगा, एंड चॉइस 3 के अलावा कुछ है तो प्रिंट दिस एरर मैसेज and don't continue. Your program will just continue on doing the thing. Other way to do that was I could have written over here true, infinite loop डाल देता, और ये राइट चॉइस वगैरह वेरिएबल नहीं किया था, इसकी जगह यहाँ ब्रेक कह देता. तो अगर आपने सही कैलकुलेट किया तो यहाँ से ब्रेक. तो अदर दिस इज बाय यूजिंग अ वेरिएबल, एंड इफ आई डू नॉट वांट टू यूज दिस वेरिएबल, यूज द प्रीवियस कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ इनफाइनाइट लूप. कौन सा? यहाँ लिखिएगा व्हाइल ट्रू इनफाइनाइट लूप, और यहाँ ब्रेक कीजिएगा, और यहाँ ब्रेक कीजिएगा, और यहाँ ब्रेक कीजिएगा. 3 जगह पे जब सही इनपुट रहेगा तो ब्रेक करके लूप में से बाहर आइएगा. अदरवाइज जब ब्रेक नहीं करोगे तो यहाँ ब्रेक नहीं होगा, तो ये कंटिन्यू करेगा लूप. दैट्स हाउ यू राइट दैट पर्टिकुलर कोड. हैव यू अंडरस्टूड दिस? यस और नो? क्विक फीडबैक एवरीबॉडी. डाउट है तो पूछिएगा, बिकॉज अभी तक इस पे अभी चेंजेस करने हैं हमें. इफ एनीबॉडी हैज अ डाउट प्लीज आस्क. हर्ष क्या डाउट है? पृथ्वीराज क्या डाउट है? हर्ष एंड पृथ्वीराज, व्हाट इज द डाउट?
No doubt.
हर्ष एंड पृथ्वीराज सो गए क्या? हाँ ना, कुछ तो बोलो. हर्ष
तो बोलतोय
Hello.
सर पण आवाज येत नाहीये.
Hello.
हाँ, व्हाट इज द डाउट?
No, sir. No doubt. No doubt.
Okay. So let us complete this particular code, and that itself can be an assignment for you once again. And I'll then make changes to this code. It will not take me much time to introduce the feature. So let's complete this particular code. हमने क्या किया है? चॉइस एक मेनू डिस्प्ले किया. यूजर को कहा चॉइस एंटर करो. यूजर एंटर चॉइसेस 1. तो वी राइट डू द कोड फॉर कैलकुलेटिंग फैक्टर. विच वन यू फाउंड इजियर? ब्रेक वाला कॉन्सेप्ट सही लग रहा है या राइट चॉइस वाला कॉन्सेप्ट सही लग रहा है, इजियर लग रहा है आपको?
Break.
ब्रेक इज इजियर. विराज?
ब्रेक.
सर ठीक है दोनों, बट सेकंड वन इज अ बिट लेंथी.
Second one is difficult or easier?
It's lengthy slightly.
Lengthy. Okay, so I'll not use
So-
it then. But ये दोनों तरीके पता हो आपको, तो let us have both the things. There are two ways to do it. So let us have both the ways of doing it. So use whichever you are comfortable with. जो technique आपको सही लगे, आसान लगे, you put it, do it. But let me complete this code. अगर choice 3 था, तो क्या करना था आपको? Check whether it's prime. Correct?
Write the 4 for prime.
So again, we'll take one variable called as limit. So here I'll say limit is equal to num divided by 2. And then I'll say for counter in the range of 2 to limit step 1 and for I'll say if num mod counter is equal to 0, then और एक भी फैक्टर मिल जाता है तो वो प्राइम नहीं है. Indeed, यहाँ लिखेंगे break. So for counter in the range of 2 to limit, suppose आपका नंबर था 20 divided by, suppose आपका नंबर था 24 divided by 2 is 12. So counter in the range of 2 to 12, step 1, number that's 24 divided by mod 2 is equal to 0. Yes, तो break कहते हैं आप इस लूप में से बाहर आओगे. तो break does not, it's not about if, break will always terminate the loop. तो आप इस लूप से बाहर आओगे. इस लूप से बाहर आने पर हम यहाँ चेक करेंगे if काउंटर या यहाँ एक वेरिएबल डालते हैं, क्या एक वेरिएबल डालते हैं, फ्लैग डालते हैं. इस प्राइम इज इक्वल टू 2 रखा है मैंने पहले इनिशियली. तो अगर ये मिल जाता है तो ब्रेक करने के लिए आई विल से कैलकुलेट इस प्राइम इज इक्वल टू फॉल्स या फॉल्स कर दिया और फिर कहा ब्रेक. तो बाहर आने पर आई चेक इफ इस प्राइम इज इक्वल टू 2, then display the num is prime, else and if and if num is not prime. So look at the code that we have now written. So if user enter choice as 1, we'll calculate the factorial. If user enters choice as 2, then we'll print all the factors. If user enter choice as 3, then we'll do the calculation to check, we'll check whether it's prime or not. And since 1, 2, 3 were right choice is true. Yeah, okay, right, true, not equal to 2, condition is false, and we'll stop. But user enter choice as 5. So yeah, okay, incorrect choice entered. राइट चॉइस का वैल्यू फिलहाल फॉल्स है, फॉल्स नॉट इक्वल टू ये ट्रू है। ओके, तो ये वापस जाएगा और वापस ये करते रहेंगे। लुक एट द कोड दैट वी हैव रिटन, इट्स क्वाइट लेंथी। Again, we have written around 70 odd lines code, but that's quite lengthy code that we have written. But at least have you understood this design? So before I go on to improve this design by using concept of functions, modules. Have you all understood this? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Quick feedback, everybody. Okay. Now let's redesign this code. I'm going to share this code with you first, so that you will have both the things for comparison. So function one hai, have this code for your comparison and then see the changes that I bring about. And your computer, and that's function one. So this is the original code that we have written. So I share this with everybody. Yeah? Now I'm going to rewrite this particular code by using concept of function. Watch it. We'll break it into several small programs. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I have shared that file with you, and I'm now saving that particular program as function 2. And I'm going to introduce a new concept. Look at the length of the code. Now, if you are trying to understand this particular code, you will get lost rather. Is it not? There's a possibility that you may get lost. ये इतना बड़ा code देखते देखते. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So instead, I'm going to reduce, I'm redesigning this code completely. If user enter choice as 1, this entire code I'll write in a function. I'll call it as call. I'm calling a function. I'm calling a function called as calculate factorial. That's a function. So here, after this stop, I'm going to write a function called as calculate factorial. नाम कुछ भी दे सकते हैं. Here, when the program stops, we say stop. Here I'm going to say return. So in this particular function called as calculate factorial, I'll put across the code. So here I'll define some variables again. So it's more like a new program that has been written. Okay, so I'll say define integer factorial is equal to 1. So I don't even have to write this. Then I also need a counter. I'll define one counter. So I define a factorial whose value is 1. I define an integer and then I say for counter in the range of 1 to number. ये जो अभी आपने number pass किया है. And then I say calculate factorial into counter. We will calculate factorial. We will display the answer. And after I have displayed this particular answer, hold on, this entire thing I have to indent here. So ये पूरा मैंने indent किया है. ये एक body है, एक function है. Function का name is calculate factorial. I'm going to pass a number. So I say define. I require some variables. I'm going to create some variables. I say for counter in the range of 1 to number. जो भी आपने number pass किया आपने 5, 6 जो भी दिया रहेगा. That means here I'm calling that particular function. कहाँ मैंने call किया? यहाँ मैंने call किया function. Or whatever number that you have entered. Suppose आपने 7 दिया था, तो I'm passing 7. That number 7 will now be assigned to this variable called as number. नाम कुछ भी दो आप इसको. Number. this number will receive the value that you have passed. I take a local variable over here, factorial and counter. I say counter in the range of 1 to number. जो आपने 7 pass किया तो 1 to 7. I'll calculate the factorial. I'll display the result and I'll say return. Moment you say return, your control will go back to the place from where you have called. आपने यहाँ से call किया, आपको गया वापस और ये right choice को true कहा, आप loop में से बाहर आ गए. Likewise, when user enter choices 2, I want to display factors of that number. If I have to calculate factors of the number, this entire code, I'm not going to write it over here to make it look complex. Rather, I'll call over here a function. This function का नाम रहेगा print factors. But किसके factors print कर रहे हैं वो number मैं यहाँ pass करूँगा. Right? And so I have a function called as print factors. Name can be same, name can be different, whatever it is. And then I say return. And in between these, we put our code. I require some variable called as counter. So I create one variable counter which is available only for this. So I say integer counter. So we say for factors of number area is variable का नाम यहाँ number है. Count in the range of 1 to number. So I'm printing factors. To print factors, you don't have to go till number. It is a poor choice. So I take one more variable called as integer limit. And this limit is equal to, I'll say, number divided by 2. So till number चलेंगे, till limit चलेंगे. And once I come out, I'll also display.
सर डिफाइन लिखना पड़ेगा ना?
Define display, define नहीं लिखा?
नहीं.
Number is a factor of itself. So display number and return. So I create one variable counter, limit is equal to number divided by 2, your number pass divided by 2. The factors of the number are as follows. For counter in the range of 1 to limit, आपने ये number mod counter equal to 0 है तो display counter. समझो आपने number 15 पास किया तो 3, 5, 1, 3, 1, 3, 5 ये factors हो जाएंगे यहाँ तक. And नीचे आके आप 15 डिस्प्ले को number is factor of itself. ये आपने calculate किया print factors. So here I use the other style that I was talking about. So instead of saying right choice equal to true or something like that, let's say break. Here also let's say break. सही आंसर दिया तो सब कुछ करके बाहर आ जाएंगे और यहाँ भी वही करेंगे. Instead of doing all this stuff, look at the code size now. I'll say call check prime number prime है के लिए और यहाँ भी कहेंगे break. That's it. और ये infinite loop लेंगे while true. तो break कहोगे तो ही loop में से बाहर. Now that code looks quite easy to understand. I'm going to simplify this code even further. So here I go. So we have a function called as check underscore prime. I could use the same name as well. Huh? Integer num नाम वही लिया तो भी चलेगा. And then return. I could have written a value, but in this case we are not required to return, so I'm not returning a value. That I'll come to later. Here we go. Here num है. So I require one variable over here. I'll say define integer limit is equal to num divided by 2. I require one more called as integer counter चाहिए. We require one Boolean variable as well. इनिशियल आपने ट्रू रखा है, अगर कोई फैक्टर मिल जाता है तो I'm going to set it to false. अगर प्राइम ट्रू है then num is prime, otherwise num is not prime and we return for num. So we have written this particular code, complete code लिखा हमने. तो ये सारी चीजें पीछे चाहिए, यहाँ चाहिए सारी. ऐसे. So we define all the variables, do the operation will come out. तो ये अलग अलग फंक्शन दिखेगा. अब कोड का साइज देखो कैसे चेंज होते जा रहा है. So this entire code, which was very complex, now it looks very easy. The choice is 1, we are going to calculate factorial. Choice is 2, we are going to print factors. Choice is 3, we are going to call check prime. Else we are going to display incorrect choice है या नहीं है. Look at that readability of the code that has now been improved. Not just that, यहाँ जो आपने input accept किया था, ये भी हम लोग function लिखेंगे. I'm not going to write the code in this fashion. मुझे एक number चाहिए था. Okay, I needed a number. So in that case, here we have been calling this particular function. ये हम लोग function call कर रहे हैं. But function call करने पर हम लोग कुछ return नहीं कर रहे. But the function may be returning a value. So here what I'm going to do is, I'm going to say num is equal to call accept date number. तो मैं फंक्शन को कॉल करूँ accept number. इसमें कुछ नहीं पास करूँगा. In all these functions we are passing a value. Here I'm not going to pass any value. And this entire code I'm going to write in a function called as accept number. That I have one function called as accept number. This function is going to be slightly different. Accept number. इसमें आपने कुछ नहीं पास किया. Define integer, जो भी नाम देना आपको दे दो. And here we go. Then we use a do while loop. We say please enter integer in the range of 1 to 100. Accept num. Num greater than int max and int min. यानी जो दो variables थे, आपको अभी बाहर इसकी जरूरत नहीं है. We are going to define these variables only over here. तो आपका main function भी अभी जो main code है, that will also look nice. यहाँ इनकी दुनिया को नहीं मालूम. When I come over here, यहाँ अलग है. यहाँ से नंबर रिटर्न करूंगा. देखिए अभी कैसा हुआ. When you start with the program, look at the program size has now reduced significantly. Here I don't need all these variables now. इन सारे variables की मुझे कोई जरूरत नहीं. Choice चाहिए, number चाहिए, right data नहीं चाहिए, prime नहीं चाहिए, limit नहीं चाहिए, कुछ नहीं. None of these variables are required. इनमें से कोई भी variable मुझे नहीं चाहिए अभी. दो ही चाहिए, num and choice. So here I go. I say num is equal to call accept number. So when you say call accept number, control comes to this accept number. Here we create a new variable num. We have integer minimum, integer maximum. We ask user enter the number in the range of 1 to 100. We accept the number. If the number is not correct, we print this error message. We print this error message. A infinite loop है, चलते रहेगा. Again we go ahead. We ask the user to enter the number. User enters the right value. Say 55. 55 greater than max 100 है क्या नहीं? Less than 1 है क्या नहीं है? तो we say break. So number में सही value accept हो चुका है. So we return this number. Whatever value that you return will now get assigned to this variable number here. यहाँ इसके अंदर store हो जाएगा. Now once it has been stored over here, we now start with this. Even over here, this was the menu that was to be displayed. Correct? This was the menu that was to be displayed. So even for displaying such a menu, I could write a code. So I'll say over here, call display menu. ये डिस्प्ले मेनू. फिर आपने एक चॉइस एक्सेप्ट किया, उसके बाद फिर उसी में कर सकते थे चॉइस एक्सेप्ट भी. Okay, but we'll display the menu and then we'll accept the choice. So I could write a function here. Display menu. Return choice. Return choice. That means you'll have to define choice. Integer choice. नहीं, हम लोग तो सिर्फ डिस्प्ले कर रहे हैं, डिफाइन की कोई जरूरत नहीं है। हमने कहा कैलकुलेट फैक्टर, प्रिंट फैक्टर्स, चेक इट्स प्राइम, प्लीज एंटर योर चॉइस 1 2 3, कुछ रिटर्न नहीं करना है। तो वी आर राइटिंग ऑल काइंड ऑफ फंक्शंस। तो एक फंक्शन है डिस्प्ले मेनू, ये कुछ रिटर्न नहीं करेगा, एक मेनू डिस्प्ले करेगा। जैसे आई कुड राइट दिस कोड हियर और आई कुड राइट दैट कोड देयर, व्हाट इट इज। ये आपका मेनू डिस्प्ले करेगा। मेनू है तो सिर्फ मेनू डिस्प्ले किया। आफ्टर वी हैव डिस्प्लेड द मेनू, after you have displayed the menu, we'll give the user the choice to enter the result. यहाँ मैंने कहा enter your choice 1 2 3, यूजर ने choice accept कर लिया, यूजर ने choice accept कर लिया। If choice is 1, okay, choice कहाँ accept किया देखते हैं। Okay, choice कहाँ accept किया हमने, यहाँ accept किया। अगर choice 1 है then calculate factorial, अगर choice 2 है then print factors, अगर choice 3 है then calculate check prime, अगर 1 2 3 में नहीं है तो incorrect choice enter। infinite loop है, दोबारा बोलेगा display menu choice, enter your choice। choice अगर 1 है तो will calculate factorial, 2 है तो print factors। समझो 2 था choice, print factor क्या, break का, break will take you out of the loop and will stop। so your main program is only this much now, इतना ही कोड है। And what we have done is we have decomposed the code. We have broken into several small functions. हमने अलग-अलग ऐसे functions लिखे हैं. Some functions like this, ये print factors, it is accepting integer but not returning a value. Check prime, it's accepting an integer, doing some operation on that integer but not returning any value. Whereas accept number is not accepting any value or returning a value. यानी अपने पास एक value accept करता है number, और वो नंबर की वैल्यू रिटर्न करता है। वॉट एवर वैल्यू हैज बीन एक्सेप्टेड बाय दिस फंक्शन इज असाइन्ड टू दिस वेरिएबल नंबर, और फिर उसी पे हम लोग यहाँ ऑपरेट करते हैं। सो दैट्स हाउ यू डिकम्पोज योर कोड इनटू वेरियस फंक्शंस। यू कॉल देम एज फंक्शंस, यू कॉल देम एज प्रोसीजर्स, यू कॉल देम एज सब रूटीन्स, अलग अलग नाम से पहचाने जाते हैं, बट दैट्स हाउ यू डिकम्पोज द कोड। Advantage of decomposing the code is tomorrow while you are working in a team, what I could do, I could say, Monica, you write a code to calculate factorial. Harsh, you write a code to print factors. Kaustubh, you write a code to check prime. And Prithviraj, you write the main code to accept the choice. So divide and conquer. Different teams will work on different parts. You can club all these modules to create a larger application. The divide and conquer strategy is what we can use by using this concept of function. और कल ऐसा ही मेनू किसी दूसरे प्रोग्राम में चाहिए था, then you can just use the same function again. यानी ऐसा ही मेनू दूसरे किसी प्रोग्राम में चाहिए था, ये यूज कर सकते हैं। In some other program also you have to calculate check for prime. You can reuse this particular code because it's a tested code. So this code can be reused. Some other program you wanted to print the factorial, you could print it. अगर आपको calculate करके return करना था, तो in that case, instead of saying this, I could have just said here print, calculate display, calculate factorial. Yeah, I could accept the value. यहाँ ये factorial calculate करेगा, आ गया, ये calculate करेगा. After calculate करेगा, return the factorial. आपकी मर्जी, मैंने यहाँ print किया, वो return भी कर सकता है. So what have we done? Now look at this code and tell me, is this code more readable to understand कि क्या किया जा रहा है इस प्रोग्राम में? कैसे कहा हमने accept the number, एक कॉल किया फंक्शन, मेनू को डिस्प्ले किया, चॉइस एक्सेप्ट कर लिया, अगर चॉइस 1 है तो कैलकुलेट फैक्टोरियल, चॉइस 2 है तो प्रिंट फैक्टर्स, चॉइस 3 है तो चेक प्राइम. इज दिस इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड और द प्रीवियस वन दैट वी हैड रिटन? सॉरी, कौन सा था वो?
फंक्शन 1 था सर।
Yeah, look at that. Even if you go through it, unless until you do not read the entire logic, will you even understand what is done when choice is 1? पता चलेगा क्या पूरा कोड पढ़ने तक? Yes or no? अरे कुछ तो बोलो.
No, sir, no.
No. And when you look at this now, इसका नाम क्या था तुमने?
फंक्शन 2 है सर।
फंक्शन 2 है, कहाँ गया
सर? उसके साइड में,
साइड में ही है,
ऊपर
उस साइड
एंड में,
सेकंड लास्ट फाइल, सेकंड लास्ट.
Okay. Here, is it not easy to understand? If choice is 1, then calculate factorial. If choice is 2, then print factors. If choice is 3, then check prime. and look at यहाँ भी कुछ ज्यादा variables वगैरह नहीं है. So one can write the main code, others can write the functions, and each of these function can be tested separately. So by dividing a bigger program into several sub modules, ऐसे modules में divide करने से, you make it easy to maintain the code, you make it easy to understand the code. You are implementing strategy of divide and conquer. You are dividing the bigger program into several small programs and handling this sub program separately. These programs, sub programs, yeah, modules, sub programs actually have their own set of variables which are not available outside. They are local to this particular body of the function. So ये factorial counter ये इसी के लिए value है. ये यहाँ नहीं एक्सेप्ट कर पाएंगे, एक्सेस कर पाएंगे. उसके लिए आपने यहाँ और एक काउंटर डिफाइन किया. यहाँ एक लिमिट वेरिएबल है which is known only to this function. The other functions will not be knowing about this variable called as limit. It is available only inside this function. It's a small program that we have written. So functions are the smallest piece of program that we write. It's a smallest program. आज तक हम लोग एक ही प्रोग्राम लिख रहे थे. अभी हमने एक प्रोग्राम को 4 सब प्रोग्राम्स में डिवाइड किया है. 4 सब प्रोग्राम्स में डिवाइड किया है. ये आपका चेक प्राइम एक है, एक्सेप्ट नंबर एक है, डिस्प्ले मेन्यू एक है, और प्रिंट फैक्टर्स एक है, फैक्टोरियल एक है, और कितने सारे हैं. ओके, so we have how many functions, different functions now? 1, 2, 3, and 4. But by doing so, there is one more advantage. So when you are writing about the function called as accept number, do you have to think about the other logic? No. आप इस पे फोकस कीजिएगा ना. आप अपने एक्सेप्ट नंबर को कैसे लेना है, क्या वैलिडेशन करना है, वो कर लीजिएगा. The logic to accept the number can be very complex. Look at this. Logic to accept number, checking for the validation may be complex. बट जब आप अपने क्लाइंट को कोड दिखा रहे, कितना आसान है. कॉल एक्सेप्ट नंबर, यानी यहाँ सर एक्सेप्ट करेंगे नंबर, फिर मेनू को डिस्प्ले करेंगे, फिर आपकी चॉइस एक्सेप्ट करेंगे. चॉइस अगर 1 है तो ये काम करेंगे, चॉइस अगर 2 है तो ये काम करेंगे, चॉइस इफ इट्स 3 आई विल डू दिस, चॉइस इनकरेक्ट है तो आई प्रिंट दिस मैसेज एंड आस्क द यूजर टू एंटर अगेन. If the entered choice is right, we'll calculate factorial and we'll break to stop this program. We come out of the loop. So understanding the code becomes easier. Maintenance of this particular code becomes easier if you are in a position to use this concept of divide and conquer. So let me know if I have any queries regarding it. कुछ भी डाउट है, क्वेश्चन है तो पूछिएगा. Yes, please.
Sir, those common variables should be always written at the top.
Pardon, come again.
Common variables which will be used everywhere. They should be written at the top.
No, don't get into it right now. Avoid doing that. Whatever it may be common, uncommon, छोड़ो ना. आप अगर एक फैक्टोरियल का कोड लिख रहे हैं and Monica is writing the code for printing factors, क्या आपको पता है दोनों में क्या कॉमन है?
No, sir.
No. So if I want to share some data, pass it. जैसे हमने इस प्रोग्राम में num पास किया था. देखो तो यहाँ जो डेटा फंक्शन को चाहिए वो हम पास कर रहे हैं. Can you see that? This function need the data. तो इस प्रिंट चेक प्राइम को कौन से नंबर का प्राइम फाइंड करना है, ये चेक करना है. तो while I'm giving a call to this function called a check prime, I'm passing that number.
Yes,
यहाँ
sir.
से जो नंबर की वैल्यू पास करोगे वो यहाँ रिसीव हो जाएगा या यहाँ रिसीव हो जाएगा and I can use that. I can use, but that this number is different than the number that we have passed. Value मगर उसका एक ही है. These are two different variables. Avoid thinking about using these variables directly in the functions. Avoid doing that. Assume that ये feature available ही नहीं है. That's the best way to go ahead. Whatever data your function requires. Monica's question is what you want to check whether code written, check the code written in the function. That's what precisely it is. So these functions are reusable piece of program. So a tester can test. दोस्तों आपने टेस्टिंग का कोर्स किया है ना?
No, sir.
No, you have not done. किसने किया? कौन था आपने से टेस्टर?
Sairam, sir.
सायरम तो टेस्टिंग तो उनको बहुत ज्यादा करना पड़ता है. Somebody had done the testing course. That lady, she has not turned up today. Okay. So when you write this piece of code functions, each of these individual function can be tested by the tester. So he doesn't have to run the entire program. He can directly call print factors. He can directly call check prime. He can directly call calculate factorial. Okay, and then that code can be checked. So there is no need for them to go through the entire code. Every piece, say you are writing the function for calculating factorial. So you yourself can check whether that function is working correctly for the given value. If you feel it is correctly, then you submit. The Prithviraj is assembling all this code to write the main function. So he'll assemble that code and use it, believing that what you have done is right. Understood, Monica?
फंक्शन सारखे असतात का मग?
Pardon?
हॅलो
please.
लायब्ररीज म्हणजे फंक्शनच असतात का? हॅलो
Yeah, we can hear you. Libraries, lot of time contains functions. So we are just calling it from that particular library. We can call it, if you want to reuse a function I have
Okay.
written, I want you to use it, then I'll keep these functions in library and then I'll ask you to use it then from the library.
ओके.
Okay. Anything
Sir,
else?
and those functions should always be written after stop, na?
Uh, that's a good practice. We call it as top to down approach. ये जो मैं stop के नीचे लिख रहा हूँ, top to down. Why? Because the topmost piece of code gives you an overall idea as to what is happening, what is being done, not about how it is done. जरा देखो तो ये इसे top to down approach कहा जाता है in programming. Good question, विराज. तो here ये जब कोड देखोगे आप, ये पढ़ने पर आपको क्या समझ में आ रहा है? बताइए यहाँ क्या पता चला आपको? What all work has been done? क्या आपको पता है नंबर कैसे एक्सेप्ट किया जा रहा है? क्या बता रहा है मेनू कैसे डिस्प्ले कर रहा है? क्या है बता रहा है फैक्टोरियल कैसे कैलकुलेट किया जा रहा है, प्रिंट कैसे हो रहा है, चेक कैसे किया जा रहा है? इज इट टेलिंग एनीथिंग ऑफ दैट?
No, sir.
No. So the topmost code gives you an overall idea as to what all operations are happening, but एक नजर में प्रोग्राम में क्या क्या हो रहा है वो समझ में आ रहा है, कैसे हो रहा है that you may not understand, how it is working that you may not know, but what is happening we can immediately understand at one glance.
Yes, sir. Sir, you were saying
And
about
how it is
structure,
being
right?
done will appear later in the function. We call this as top-down approach. So the topmost module gives an idea as to what all is being done. Details as to how it is being done will appear later.
Sir, पहले structure दिखाना है ना?
Pardon?
So first we show the structure.
First, we give an overall idea about what is being done, not how it's being done. How it is being done will appear later in each of that function. They can appear in the separate file or in the same file, whatever it is, that will come later. The program should only give the client an idea what all services are you providing. इसको क्या करना है? How is that service being provided? As long as the service is correctly being provided. गाड़ी है, गाड़ी के राइट हैंड की साइड में आपका एक्सीलरेटर है, इसको बोले एक्सीलरेटर घुमाओ, हम गाड़ी आगे जाएगी. Why explain what is happening internally when the accelerator is turned? ये abstraction का concept है. We'll hide the details. 4 pillars, याद है ना? So we have now reached to the ultimate thing. Have you all understood this design? Everybody, anybody has a sir ये कुछ अलग हो रहा है, गलत समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, ऐसा कुछ है? So I can clarify it again. क्यों करना है ऐसे? So आपको क्या करना है? You have to now relook at both the codes and जरा देखो उनकी तरफ डिजाइन में क्या क्या changes हुए हैं. Then only you'll appreciate why this thing is better. And if you still don't appreciate, ask me, sir. ये सर ये मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, इसमें क्या फायदा है? राहुल, मोनिका, हर्ष, आशीष, are you understanding the significance of this particular feature or not yet? Harsh, Monica.
Yes sir, understood.
Okay, आपके लिए अभी असाइनमेंट क्या है? वो जो बड़ा वाला प्रोग्राम आपने लिखा था ना, उसको डिकम्पोज करना है. So it should not be that all A, B, C का जो सारा कोड आपने 100 lines of code that you written. Person will get tired, he will get lost looking at those number of variables. कितने variables सारे प्रोग्राम में, कितने variables थे आपके? जरा देखो तो आपके प्रोग्राम में कितने variables थे. And it is so intimidating, डर लगता है इतने variables देखने पर. और फिर उनको हर जगह यूज किया गया है. तो array of 0,1 क्या है, जाके ऊपर देखना पड़ता है बार-बार. 100 lines of code is a big code that you have written. Okay. I will tell you about the guidelines what programming languages say, and you will be shocked to hear that. जरा language अभी next start करेंगे हम लोग. So here at least try and break that code. 100 lines का code, one piece of code, 100 lines, not acceptable. Okay. Code should be as short as possible.
Sir,
So
what is
divide
the
and conquer.
suitable size?
Pardon?
What's the suitable size?
Suitable नहीं, recommended size, not more than 4-5 lines. Think about it. Not more than 4-5 lines. And the story has gone still further with the introduction of functional programming. You'll be shocked to hear it, but it is very much possible. The target size of every function is 1 line. कितना?
One line.
And you'll be shocked to see that Python makes it possible, Java makes it possible, JavaScript makes it possible. Code which we write several lines of code traditionally in Java and Python. Now with the introduction of concept of functional programming and new APIs, you can express that logic only in one instruction. Only one instruction. The instruction may be 2 lines, but one instruction, only one instruction, and that will do the magic for you. So wherever possible, use these advanced features, use the ready-made libraries which are available, and short, जितना कम लाइन का कोड लिखोगे उतना कम टेस्टिंग करना पड़ेगा, उतने कम चांसेस ऑफ एरर्स है, जितने ज्यादा लाइंस का कोड लिखोगे उतने ज्यादा चांसेस ऑफ एरर्स है. We all are humans at the end of the day, ना? So think about writing the code, and libraries are so mature today. Wherever possible, use library. If there is a library, use it. If it is not there, then write the code. Do not reinvent the wheel. जो काम पहले किसी ने करके रखा है, don't pat yourself. Oh, I wrote a code to accept the integer. अरे input function है ना Python में, use करो, accept करो. Why waste your time? So do not reinvent the wheel. जो है पहले वो दोबारा डिजाइन मत करो, जो नहीं है उस पे फोकस करो. And what is not there in the market right now is the business logic, because every business is different. So put all your efforts towards the business problem. Don't waste your time doing some silly basic stuff which is ready-made. जो already ready-made है from the library, just use it and forget. Understood everybody? Significance. So we have seen concept of decomposition and how to write functions. I have shared all the files with you. So assignment for you, we will meet tomorrow once again, and that will be all about our logic development sessions. I would like to see how you decompose that particular code. ठीक है, वो बहुत बढ़िया कोड है, लंबा चौड़ा कोड है. मुझे नहीं चाहिए मेन प्रोग्राम में इतने सारे वेरिएबल्स वगैरह नहीं चाहिए. Finish each of that task in 3 different functions, या 4 different functions, whatever will be required. I think not more than 4 functions will be required. That's what I feel. एक आप सोचिए, मुझे नहीं लगता 4 के ऊपर functions की जरूरत पड़ेगी. आप सोचिए 4-5 जो लगता है appropriately use it, but try and write the code as small as possible. So everybody will complete the code. Decompose करके ले आओगे everybody? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So on that note, we'll stop here today.
सर
Yes, please. कोई doubt है?
हाँ यस सर.
बोलिए.
सर अब हमने ना सर प्रोग्राम में मतलब लॉजिक डेवलपमेंट में अप्रोच देखा कि कैसे अप्रोच होता है हर एक प्रॉब्लम. लेकिन सर जो कोर लॉजिक है ना सर, मतलब हमने जो मतलब फॉर्मूले यूज किए,
हाँ.
कोर लॉजिक मतलब उससे हमें एक वैल्यू मिली.
हाँ.
तो वो कैसे इम्प्रूव करने का कि सर वो हमें पता होना चाहिए कि वो हमें फॉर्मूला यूज करना है.
नहीं, there is nothing as formula. Now these are techniques that you are learning, correct?
Yes.
तो हमने कहा रे नेस्टेड इफ को रिप्लेस किया जा सकता है विद एरेज, मल्टीपल काउंटर्स को रिप्लेस किया जा. These are fundamental concepts. So just keep them in mind, use them wherever they are required, and with new अभी languages पढ़ोगे ना, every language will provide you some tools. Now those tools we should start using. Basic constructs will still remain the same. But अभी language पढ़ते समय, that's what I want people to understand. I was talking to Harsh also earlier. When you are learning language, I do not want you to spend about time learning this, how to solve such programs. नहीं. Language, what it is offering you beyond what you have learned till now, वो features देखो, and then you will appreciate the language. अरे इस language में ये नया है, ये हम लोग use करके मेरा कोड में शॉर्ट कर सकता हूँ. I can express my ideas in a better way. So while learning language, don't think about, sir, I will teach you how to solve problems using Python, how to solve problems using Java. Problems here. Once you know how it has been solved, I'll teach you how to use those language features to solve that particular problem. यानी अपना ये ट्रेडिशनल स्टाइल हो जाएगा अभी, तो ये आप इस तरीके से करोगे. बट विद द फीचर दैट लैंग्वेज प्रोवाइड्स, दिस कोड कैन बी इवन ब्यूटीफुल. द डिजाइन ऑफ दिस कोड कैन स्टिल चेंज. सो C++ will provide you few more constructs using which the design can be improved even further. Python will provide you some features which will make it more simpler to express your ideas. So learning languages is not about learning syntax. People feel learning language is about learning the syntax of the language. Learning a new language, programming language, is about exploring what that language has to offer to me. वो देखिएगा, और फिर वो features अगर आप use नहीं कर रहे हो, तो हर language एक जैसी है फिर. I have seen people writing programs, the way they do it in C, they do it in C++ also in the same way. Program run कर जाएगा, फिर C++ क्यों कहाँ use किया? अगर आपको C के स्टाइल से ही कोड लिखना था, अगर आपको C से स्टाइल से लिखना था, तो Python क्यों use किया? Using Python syntax also I can write the code the way you do it in C. But unless you don't use the features which Python provides, then what's the point in learning Python? What's the point in learning Java? So I'll be teaching you in our course. ये तो बहुत fundamental construct सिखाया मैंने आपको. आपके questions के लिए मैं बताता हूँ. I'll be in our course. We have one more very advanced topic called as data structures, where we learn n number of advanced techniques. Right from ये Google का जो आप search करते हो ना, nearest hotel near me, उसका algorithm कैसे काम करता है. तो all the advanced algorithms I'm going to teach you. Okay, yeah, if you want to go from your office, your home to your office, what is the shortest distance that you will take? In mathematics जो आप problem solve करते हैं, salesman का problem जो आप solve करते हैं maths में, transportation का problem solve करते हैं. So how these logics can be implemented? Those are the complex problems that we'll see when we learn data structures. So data structures and algorithm अपना एक topic है where I'll teach you some very advanced techniques which are there to solve some complex problems. Right now, what we have learned is the basic constructs of the programming language. हमने क्या सीखा है? Language के basic constructs, which are common for all the languages in the world. सारे languages में features मिलेंगे. But every language has to offer you something more than the basic construct. अब language पढ़ते समय, you have to keep your eyes wide open and check out what is that new thing that I'm discussing, which we did not discuss in logic. Is that okay?
सर मतलब मेरा क्या कहना था कि हमने मतलब लॉजिक डेवलपमेंट की अप्रोच पढ़ ली और उसमें मतलब कैसे यूज करेंगे वो भी पढ़ लिया, लेकिन जो कोर लॉजिक तक हमें पहुंचना है ना, मतलब आइडिया, मतलब एक आधे प्रॉब्लम के सपोज.
I'll answer it. I'll answer it. आप जो प्रॉब्लम की बात करें, कल भी एक प्रॉब्लम आपने सॉल्व किया.
यस.
क्या मैंने उसका लॉजिक बताया था आपको?
नहीं,
क्या किया इसके लिए आपने?
मतलब अप्रोच फॉलो किया.
अप्रोच फॉलो किया, डिस्कस किया,
यस.
you experimented, correct?
यस.
Writing programs is the only way to develop your confidence of coding.
ओके. ओके.
अब हमने pseudo code लिख रहे थे ना.
यस.
अब कोई नया प्रॉब्लम आ जाए, पहले उसका pseudo code लिखो, देन उसको ट्रांसलेट करो इनटू प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज. अगर आप pseudo code लिख सकते हैं तो आप किसी भी लैंग्वेज में उसको एनकोड कर सकते हैं. Programming or coding that I'll be teaching you will be translation of your algorithm into a computer program.
यस.
But using additional feature that language provides.
यस.
यानी आपको ये फ्लो चार्ट या pseudo code तो करना ही है, करेक्ट? और फिर उसको ट्रांसलेट करना into a program using that features of the language. So the only way you will gain the confidence, जो आप मुझे 3 बार क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं ना, the only way you'll gain that confidence कि I can solve the problem, उसका core logic मेरे दिमाग में आ सकता है. That's what you're saying ना?
Yes.
How can
Yes.
that
Yes.
idea come to my mind, correct?
Yes. Yes.
There is no magic formula to it. There are no shortcuts to it. You can only speed up that particular process. And I give you variety of examples. अभी जो हमने examples देखे, correct? Now these examples is giving you hint. ऐसा problem आया तो कैसे करें? You try to apply that nested if के लिए वो array use करने की कोशिश की आपने.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Now, as we learn languages, I'll take additional problem statements where I'll discuss and share with you some additional constructs. तो वो आपको क्या करना है? प्रॉब्लम्स के टाइप्स आइडेंटिफाई करके रखने हैं कि ऐसा प्रॉब्लम आता है तो क्या किया सर ने. तो हम लोग भी ऐसा प्रॉब्लम मेरी जिंदगी में कभी आता है वो भी हम लोग करेंगे. एंड लेट मी प्रॉमिस यू समथिंग मोर. देयर हैज बीन अ स्टडी दैट हैज बीन डन ओवर 60 years. Our programming world community is now mature. 60 साल serious programming हो रहा है. Serious means very complex business applications have been solved for last 60 years. There are 4 people, we call them as gang of 4. इन्होंने 60 साल का एक्सपीरियंस एक अच्छे से एक बुक में ट्रांसलेट कर रखा है. ओके. एंड उन्होंने 18 मेजर आइडियाज दिए हाउ मोस्ट कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रॉब्लम्स इन द वर्ल्ड कैन बी टैकल्ड. ठीक है. उसके 4 कैटेगरीज में डिवाइड किए गए हैं. एंड आई विल बी टीचिंग यू दोस ऑल डिजाइन पैटर्न्स कि रियल लाइफ वर्ल्ड में जो प्रॉब्लम्स आते हैं, रियल लाइफ वर्ल्ड के प्रॉब्लम्स, दे आर वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स. अभी जो लिए हमने रियल लाइफ एग्जांपल्स भी थे, बट दे वर क्वाइट सिंपलर ग्रेड रियल लाइफ एग्जांपल्स, करेक्ट? बट समटाइम्स द एप्लीकेशन रिक्वायरमेंट इज क्वाइट कॉम्प्लेक्स. तो आई विल बी टीचिंग यू सम डिजाइन पैटर्न्स which will give you enough confidence to tackle any challenging situation. So our story about ideas does not get over here. अभी तो basic construct देखे. The new set of algorithms you learn in data structure algorithms, and the most advanced ideas you learn in design patterns. So my promise to you is, I'll make you very confident with data structures, very confident with design patterns, and when you learn design patterns, you will have edge over all your colleagues who are there in academics, in the industry also. You will definitely have an edge because it's like crux of 60 years of experience. It is there, just that people are not using it. Why they cannot use it? Because they do not know the right way to use it. When they open up that book, half of the people run away from that book because they do not know how to look at that book, how to read that book. And I'll teach you techniques as to how to read that book I want all of you to have that book also. Means once we come to that stage, it's too early for me to even share or ask you to start reading that book. Don't read the books till the time I don't tell you, because it uses some another set of construct that I have not taught you. Okay, let me tell you one more thing. The design construct that I have taught you right now is an idea. What I have taught you an idea is the idea of 60s and 70s and 80s. कब का होता है मैंने idea? 60s, 70s and 80s. After 80s, the world has changed. After 2010, the world has changed. So in programming world, we have three major stages. Till 80, 80 to 2010, and 2010 onwards. Let me name those for you. 80s was a world, till 80s was a world of structured programming, and that's the only concept that I have taught you. Post 80s till 2010 was the world of object-oriented programming that I'm going to teach you. And after 2010, world is about functional programming that also I'm going to teach you. Okay? So our idea discussions is not yet over. The way to decompose when the problem is much more complex, this decomposition doesn't help. But for simpler problems, this helps. So जहाँ ये काम करेगा वो use करो. जहाँ ये fail होगा, I'll tell you about new concept, object-oriented concept. जहाँ object-oriented concept is not right, I'll teach you functional concepts. Correct? But we'll go step by step. Now that we have mastered this object-oriented concept, next, when I start with probably HTML, CSS, or Python, I'll teach you how to use this basic structured programming concept. Yeah, they are called as procedural concept. In that, then I'll go to the object-oriented, and once I finish with object, I'll go with functional. So I want you to be comfortable and confident with all programming paradigms. They are called as programming paradigms. Structured or procedural, as it's called as, object-oriented and functional. मैं आपको पुराने से पुराने स्टाइल से आज के current style तक, all the style of coding is what I'm going to teach you. The most interesting and the simplest is today's world of writing programs. That's functional, where we rely on the libraries. यहाँ किसी library पे हमने rely किया क्या? खुद code लिखा, सारा logic लिखा. So you can be a library creator also. But market is so mature today, सारे काम के libraries already है. तो क्यों code लिखना है उस library है तो use करो. Correct? So today's world is about that. I told you the function side should be only one line. How? No magic. I'll make use of those library features and then I'll write the shortest piece of code, because libraries are so mature that we can rely on them today. But I want you to be a library creator also, who can work in the background and create those libraries also. For that, this knowledge is also required. Does that answer your question? या अभी भी कोई doubt है?
No, sir. समझ में
कुछ
आया।
है तो पूछिए हाँ. Yeah. Anybody has any query? Okay. So I want all of you to translate that code and come tomorrow. कल मैं इसी को flowchart में कैसे represent करूँ वो भी दिखाऊंगा. Okay. But come down ready with that solution, huh? Because अगर वो कर पाए ना, I don't have to take any more example. I don't need, and I can skip on those topics when I teach you programming language. I can just say अरे वो यही है. सिर्फ Python में कैसे करना है, I'll just show you the syntax and we can move ahead. So our learning of languages will now be speeded up. Why did I spend so much of time over here? I'm not going to teach you how to write a loop in C and Python and Java and C++. I'm just going to show you the syntax over there and just say, हाँ ये for loop है वहाँ का, ये ऐसा syntax है. चलो आगे. उसका purpose आपको पता है. So learning all languages will be easier now for you, because we'll not waste time learning. Array क्या है? मालूम है? सिर्फ Java में array कैसे create करना है, Python में कैसे create करना है, C++ में कैसे create करना है, वही देखेंगे. Syntax पढ़ेंगे. Why bother about the ideas? Ideas we already know now.
Sir, tomorrow, please tell how to make array in Flow.
Example में आपके array है ना?
नहीं sir, वो flow chart.
कल functions लेंगे. चाहे तो उसमें एक example लेंगे जिसमें array की जरूरत है. ऐसा कुछ करते हैं.
Okay
सर
sir.
हमने मल्टी डायमेंशनल अरे यूज नहीं किया 2D छोड़ के.
किया ना? 2 डायमेंशन क्या था? मल्टी हो गया ना? एक से ज्यादा मल्टी हो गया.
2D के ऊपर भी यूज नहीं किया.
कर सकते हैं ना? डायमेंशन से अभी सिर्फ.
हाँ, कर सकते.
हाँ, एनी डायमेंशन. एक का 2 कर पाए तो 3 करो, 3 ब्रैकेट डालो. ओके.
हाँ सर.
हाँ, dimensions are no problem. You know how to access the array also now, dimensions.
Yes.
हाँ, तो any dimension of array can be used. That should not. वैसे एग्जांपल हम लैंग्वेजेस में लेंगे, एक आध दो एग्जांपल में, बट डायमेंशन शुड नॉट बी अ प्रॉब्लम फॉर यू नाउ. 2 डायमेंशन ले लिया तो 3 भी पॉसिबल है, 4 भी पॉसिबल है, n नंबर ऑफ डायमेंशंस आर पॉसिबल. Okay. So with that note, we'll stop here. We meet tomorrow at same time. And I want to see your solution first, and then I'll go to flowchart. Flowchart में इसको कैसे represent किया जाए. Thank you and good night. Take care. Love you all. Bye bye.